안녕하세요, hello, and welcome to Cathlyn's Korean Food Challenge. Hi, I'm Cathlyn Choi, a Korean chef now living in beautiful California. I travel in search of other chefs to challenge them in creating some of my favorite Korean recipes for the first time after I taste their signature dishes. My basket is packed with my magic 5 Korean ingredients, and I'm off to find my next challenger on this episode of Cathlyn's Korean Food Challenge. 안녕하세요, hello, and welcome to Cathlyn's Korean Food Challenge. The recipe for today's challenge is Eomandu, which means fish dumpling typically stuffed with beef, mushrooms, and vegetables. Eomandu originated as a royal palace delicacy back in the 17th century, but today it is made and enjoyed by most people in Korea on special occasions all year round. Unlike other dumplings, which are wrapped with thin wrapper skins made of flour, for Eomandu we'll be using thinly sliced fish fillets to wrap the fillings. For the fish fillet, white fish such as halibut, flatfish, tilapia, trout, and codfish are typically used. For the stuffing, I'm not going to use any beef today, but instead I'll be using 2 kinds of mushrooms and vegetables. One of the most commonly used mushrooms for this particular dish are brown oak and shiitake mushrooms. But today I'm going with the wood ear and enoki mushrooms, some of my favorites. For the vegetables, I've prepared fresh mung bean sprouts, beautiful minari dropwort ferns, and seedless English cucumber. Here I have a codfish fillet. We need to season the fish with some salt and pepper. I've pre-mixed some sea salt and crushed pepper. Remember to season it on both sides. Now we'll let them sit for about 10 minutes while we work on the rest of the ingredients. Here are some dried wood ear mushrooms which have been rinsed and soaked in water for about half an hour. Before they are hydrated, this is what they look like. All I'm going to do is slice them up into small thin strips like this. Remove the middle part because they are a bit tougher and chewier and maybe harder to digest. Next, in a bowl, season them with some soy sauce, sesame oil, garlic powder, and a little sugar if you want to. I'm sure you've noticed this in my past episodes that in Korean cuisine, we normally season and pan-fry the ingredients separately and not all together. This way you'll be able to retain the unique flavor, color, and texture of each ingredient. Next, I'm going to slice up the cucumber. First, cut it into about 1 inch length. We want to use the skin for the green color, so slice it around like this. And then julienne them in thin strips. Normally we saute the cucumber and mushrooms, but today I'm just going to use them as is because personally I love eating raw vegetables. Plus it'll save us some cooking time. As for the mung beans, rinse them under cold water and remove the tails of the sprouts. They go very well with the minari ferns. First, brush off any loose dirt or particles with a paper towel or a brush. Then just cut off and discard the roots. Since they're still about 2 inches long, I'll cut them in half to match the length of the other vegetables. As for the minari ferns, you need to remove the leafy parts and just use the stems. For now, I'll cut the stems on this end and keep the rest in the fridge for my stir-fry. Now that we have the filling ready to go, let's work on the fish fillet wrappers. First, I'll boil the water in a steaming pot and then add the dumplings when they're ready. Make sure you pat the sliced fish fillet dry with paper towel before coating it with the corn flour on the inside. The thinner the fish fillet, the easier it is to roll and wrap the filling. Put some filling on the sliced fillet and add a couple of pine nuts, Roll it and coat with starch all over the surface. You can also use a toothpick to retain the shape of the eomandu and hold everything in place. I believe the steamer is ready. It's been heating with some water in very high heat. It is important that you use a cotton cloth so the dumplings don't stick at the bottom. Close the lid and steam the dumplings for about 5 minutes. Last but not least, we need to make some dipping sauce for the fish dumplings. In a bowl, add 1 tablespoon of vinegar. In this case, I'm using my favorite white grape vinegar. 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. Half tablespoon of pre-made hot mustard sauce. You can make this by mixing yellow mustard powder, sugar, and horseradish. To this, I'm adding 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce. If you don't like oyster sauce or don't have any, you can omit this part. Now that my dish is ready, I'm off to meet my challenger for today.